The Becoming Water course is about bringing artists into the Saskatchewan River Delta so they can see how important this place is and to experience what it's like for a brief time to be immersed in a natural system.
I've been up here, this is the third time. Each time, I've been really moved by it. And this time I brought a dozen students with me, art students from the University of Saskatchewan. I thought this would be a fabulous way for them to get some real firsthand awareness of issues related to water in the river, but also communities in our province that are very different than what they might have experienced before. They're quite a mixed group in terms of where they've come from geographically. There's a number of international students from Latvia, from Iran, and from China. But which of those methods of creative process? Like the adjacent possible or the serendipity, how did you get your idea? So in the course we've got a few field trips. Working with an artist like Basha Ireland, who has come from New Mexico, and she's an eco-artist who's worked with water. So it really helps connect this long artery of water, literally, but also imaginatively for the students.
I think there's a few goals in the program. A lot of what we've tried to do over the last 5 years is to just let people know that this place exists and that it's really important. I think everybody who comes into the Saskatchewan River Delta feels something that they might not feel anywhere else, and it really changes people.
The future of the delta lies on this little area. There's 3 rivers. We're fighting for dominance here. And our people called it Ageskitchiok in our language, where the river took a turn on its course. And then since the dam, it changed the whole system.
So how does this affect you personally and your way of living?
They've changed our whole lifestyle. It's changed our whole lifestyle. Didn't make a whole lot of money, but we were happy. Now that's changed it, like we're totally lost our ways. What I like about what U of S is doing with this project is that they're involving the First Nations. To us as Aboriginal people, for the first time, like our knowledge is being accepted, but for the first time, like we're being asked to be a part of a project, and that means so much to us.
Oh, there we go. Look at this. It's really tall. Look how tall it is. About a month ago, I started building a Geo Seidel Dome out of old bicycle rims. The idea and the structure behind it was to create this kind of meditative domes kind of space so that people could go inside of it. It was just this space to relax and have this meditative idea behind it. I can hear it changing and cracking and moving.
Students have been working with audio, they've been working with photography, they've been working with painting and drawing and sculptural materials, so it's quite mixed.
It started as very tiny pieces. I said, okay, maybe I can do something with it. So I started putting rocks around, and I put branches all around it. it will continue to grow and transform during the process as the year goes on. I would say it's like 2 days work just to assemble everything together.
We just started by observing our environment in the Delta through our different senses.
So we're gonna collect a bunch of different materials like water and then sediment and record some sound and then take that back to the studio and then see what kind of art exhibition we could do to capture the feeling that we got from this environment.
Sometimes I'll just go out and I'll search for a material, something that appeals to me or something that I find interesting. I noticed walking out in the woods here, there was an abundance of these mosses. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but when I take them back to the studio, I'll begin my work there.
For me to teach this on my own, I couldn't do it, right? I need someone like Graham along.
The nature of the work that I do is on this fine line between empirical understanding and science and advocacy. This place is why I go to work every day. You know, this place is in places like it and just wanting to reconnect people to nature. So this is the main structure of the dam here. You know, we all benefit from the power that comes from this dam. It's a pretty big major power producer in Saskatchewan, but it's certainly not without its consequences.
I'm 58, I'll be 59 in November. The dam was completed in 1964, so I was 6 years old when they completed it. I've seen the whole process of changing the system. I've seen the wealth of animals in this delta. In my time, it is when everything started to change. We rarely see a moose in this area now. And same thing with the muskrats, rare sight in this day and age. Those kids that are 30 years old today don't realize what they've lost. They'll never know. The wildlife in this delta are becoming extinct because of what man has done. We know if the wildlife returns, our people will benefit.
I just found mixed media paper and then I picked mud from the lake here, and my inspiration was the people here. This is my daughter and this is what I think of when I think of the water. This is, she's a woman that lives here. I actually gave it to her and I made a couple of them for the people that are here. Instead of taking something with me, I choose to give something back to them.
There's kind of an analogy I was playing with. I had a teacher that made us push all the toothpaste out of a container and then try to put the toothpaste back into the container, just to kind of teach us the lesson that sometimes you can't undo what you've done. So I played with that idea. I went to the wood pile, I took string and I tried to sew the bark kind of in a circle around back together and then fill it with logs. But again, it's like an analogy that we can't kind of undo what we did.
I have a bottle here of sediment with the water from the delta, and I have a bone. It's a part of a spine from a moose. And being up here made me think about cycles. Cycles are part of natural life, and when we try to disrupt those cycles, things start to break down and fall apart. Our bodies know what to do, just like a river knows what to do. And if we allow it to kind of start to heal itself, life starts to come back. Just like we need life, water to live, same with the delta.
This is Phragmites grass. The plan is to make a larger kind of version of this and then burn it in a bonfire tonight.
Science can move people's minds, but only art can connect and move people's hearts. And I think if we want to protect this place, we have to connect both with people's minds and hearts.
I hope they learn from our mistakes. Our ancestors, I know they thought that this land was so vast that we couldn't destroy it, but years after we're realizing it's not as big as we thought it was. We better be more careful into the future how we impact the environment. That's what I'd like to say to them. Money is not the solution to life. It's not. It's not. Sure, we all need it, but if without the environment, we're all going to be in trouble. We have to be careful how we handle it.
We are gathered here by the river tonight to put these ice books, which all of the art students have carved. They are embedded with riparian seeds that are native to this area, to the marsh region of the Saskatchewan River. So as they float downstream, they will help to restore the riparian area here.
To the Great Spirit, first in all things, creator of life, who was and is and will always be, who within the immensity of all creation is uniquely present here and now in this moment. To the east, to the quiet coming of the new dawn, the joyous coming forth of spring, the place of birth and rebirth and the beginning of life. To the south, the heat of noonday, the flowering warmth of summer, the place of fertility and the fullness of life. To the west, the quiet peace of evening, the changing colors of fall, the place of harvest and the gathering of life. To the north, the clear darkness of night, the deep cold of winter, the place of death and purification, and the transformation of life.